Over the last several weeks, we've seen Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies crash, which has scared the market. And this shows up in the fear and greed index. We have seen the most extreme fear that we have seen since the $28,000 lows in May, June, and July of this year. So if this happens again, what should I do? Should I sell my crypto? Should I buy more? This is what I'm going to go through in today's video, something that we specifically look at on a regular basis with our Patreon and premium members, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Our next market report is due out tomorrow morning. So join us on Patreon if you want to get a taste for what we do. So should I sell? Should I buy? That's what we'll go through in today's video. Make sure you've liked, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell notification icon. Let's dive in. So the first piece is, of course, the fear and greed index. We want to have a look at this because, as I said, we are looking at some of the most extreme fear that we've experienced in the last several months. The last time we saw extreme fear this heavy at around 16 was back in May, June, and July of this year. And if we look back at history, we know that those were some of the best times to be buying cryptocurrency if we had just joined the market in 2021. So how do we know whether this time is going to be different? Should I be buying? Of course, we need to have a plan. Part of that plan consists of understanding where we're at. So we're going to use the recent example of Saturday, which is yesterday in this video, looking at the exact time the market crashed and the fear that came into the market. Absolutely crazy to see how many people were freaking out on such a small crash. But this is extremely prevalent when it comes to an Elliott wave theory, as I'll show you in a sec. So we want to be prepared. We want to have a plan. I'm sure you've had that so many times before. How to do that? Of course, we want to research some history, and that's what I go through on the channel many, many times in multiple videos. Next steps, know what macro market I'm in, know what's in my portfolio. Okay, so let's figure out our macro market. But before we get into that, we want to see the crash itself unfold. 1 hour chart, the most extreme fear in months. This is all that it was that caused that extreme fear. So the idea here is to put everything into perspective so that we can then bring it back into our plan to know whether we are in a good position to be buying or not. And then of course we need to get into those cryptocurrencies which we want to buy and whether they're in a strong position now, or do we hold off and wait and just know that we can have patience. We don't need to be jumping into all of these altcoins every single time a dump occurs. So I remember reading one of my brother's posts just a day and a half ago. So when we see the worst sentiment here, so this is what we're seeing on the chart in terms of extreme fear. We got 16% point hit on the fear and greed, which gives us an extreme fear reading. And the last time was May, June, July. So as Michael points out here, it's classic Elliott wave market psychology. More fear at the higher low than the actual low. So let's take it back to the chart. Check that out. That is extreme fear. Here it is on the chart, 16. That's yesterday. If we take it into a month, we can clearly see that the 11th is the same fear as the low on the 6th here. And here it is. There's a low that's come in on the 4th. Of course, this day has to close on the 5th. And then that extreme sentiment gets recorded on the crypto fear and greed index. So we got the 5th and the 6th, 18 and 16. That's the extreme low on the price chart. Then we had another extreme low on the fear and greed, which was yesterday, but this is a higher low at the moment. And you've been following the Wyckoff method that I've been tracking here. We've got the automatic rally. We have the secondary test, and this could be one of the secondary tests. We won't know for sure until we see the next stage of the Wyckoff method, and then we want to see the market come back and test again. So this was something that I put out days and days ago when this market came into this low on the 4th, and so that's what we're tracking now, most extreme fear. Okay, so coming back to our plan, know what macro market we're in. We go through to the 4 hour, that's all we're looking at here, 50,000 to 46.8, 6%. Let's bring the macro scale back in again, so we go out to our weekly chart, and that's all that people were fearing, this tiny little section in the overall bull market. So know what macro we're in. Here is the low, 41K. The lows back in September, we're at 39,500. And then the lows back in May, June, July at around 28 to 29,000. The macro picture is still up. We haven't broken past our 39,000 or our 28, 29,000. So for my trading plan, the macro view is up. Other people might have a different view, but for me, macro view is up. I want to buy the tasty dips in the bull market. This shows me the tasty dip. Let's bring it back to a 3 month so we can see. Tasty dips are stuff under sort of 15 or 20 on the fear and greed, plus of course our Wyckoff method. Now we should all know what's in our portfolio. Are you holding 5 cryptos, 10, 15, 50 cryptos? Personally, I like to keep it as small as possible. So I want to know what's in my portfolio so I can quickly execute my plan. Next up on my plan, I want know what I need to sell. So that is to protect my gains and or for more capital if I want to buy something on the dip. And then I need to know what I need to buy on the dip. So I need to have all of this prepared in advance. So when the dip comes, I'm not screwing around trying to figure out what it is I need to buy, jumping onto YouTube, looking for the next trending crypto which someone else is posting about. So I want to have all of this prepared in advance. And of course, if I don't have any stable coins or I don't have any ETH or Bitcoin that I want to use to buy some of these dips, then I need to know how to sell out of some of the cryptos that aren't performing and throw it into something that might be performing more so. Something that I share on Patreon with the members over there on a regular basis. So the next thing is Link. This was something that I shared with the members at the time. Of course, I don't care so much for any of the projects, or I love them or I hate them. I don't want to marry them. The whole idea here is to hit it and quit it. So Link, it might come back one day. Maybe this is the low. I honestly don't know, but the trend at the moment is still down on a log. Link against ETH. This just shows me Link is still pretty weak. So if I want to get into something that's stronger, I'd be selling my Link if I didn't have any more stable coins or Bitcoin or ETH. So if I want to get into something stronger, then of course I want to sell something that's weaker and get into something that's stronger. I don't subscribe to the old notion that just because something's down really heavily means it's going to go back up at some point. If it's down, it's potentially down for a reason. And so Link is down at the moment. That's one of those cryptos which, as I've said before, I've mentioned to my members and something that I sold in order to get into Ethereum, so I wasn't caught in this extra rundown. And that percentage, although it may look small here, is about another 30 odd percent. So that means I would be losing 30 more percent of my Ethereum holding Link rather than selling it. So in this case, I've sold the Link. That's to protect my gains. And now I've sold it for more capital. I can throw that into Ethereum because Ethereum was actually looking stronger at the time. And at the moment, it's looking like it needs a rest. It's coming back. It's just pulling back a little bit. The other crypto which was looking reasonably strong was Matic at the time. However, again, these things aren't going to go up forever, and the market overall is looking slightly weak. And Matic at the moment also looks like it needs a bit of a rest, as I've pointed out in the previous videos over the last couple of days. So check those out on the channel. The other crypto which is also holding up all right is Binance. You can see that these are the sort of trends that are showing strength rather than something that looks like this, which is just straight down. So BNB against the US dollar, higher lows. That's what you want to see for a strong trend, and then you know where you want to put your money when you see either a breakout or you want to buy the dip on a stronger cryptocurrency. So these are not buy recommendations. It's purely just as educational purposes to show the difference of a strong chart to a weak chart, and something that we go over on a weekly basis with the link down below, Patreon, go and check it out. But from this point forward, we know what we need to buy in the dip. So when the time comes, we've got that money on the sideline, whether it's stables or ETH, or maybe Bitcoin, using some of those to get into these other cryptos to get bigger gains down the track. So that's pretty much the plan at this point. What's next? Well, the next stage of the plan is to execute it. So if I've got the money on the sidelines, that signal comes, the market breaks out to new all-time highs, time to buy. Some people want to be buying these on the dip with those cryptocurrencies. If that's the case, then if it's a trade, we want to have some areas that we want to say, let's get out of this trade. So the 50% levels is something that we always look at. The swing bottoms or major lows are another area that we want to sell out of those cryptocurrencies if they break down and they don't go in the way that we want it to. For example, Link, like I was looking at this here, this would have been a perfect time to sell out at around the 0.012 when it broke down against Ethereum. So that's this level about here, because you can see this was the major bull market low and it got rejected from the logarithmic uptrend. And so from that point, you can see the rejection of price, the breakdown of the structure. That's probably not a bad place to get out of Link and sell it into ETH, because from that point forward, we've lost about 60 or 70% of our ETH value by holding Link. So that's the sort of things we're looking at there. That's the execution time. Get out of what we need to because the plan says to. Now, if the market goes quiet, which it seems like it is at the moment while we go through this sort of Wyckoff accumulation sideways period, the boringness of the market, while some of the smart money's buying up potentially, then the next thing I do is prepare for the next up leg, the next stage where the prices will get marked up. So I come back to my plan, check off other cryptocurrencies, follow that on a weekly and daily basis. Of course, I also want to open up some exchanges. You can find these links down below. Thanks to our video sponsors today. We've got SwiftX for the Aussies, some of the cheapest fees in Australia. Link is down there, $10 free. And of course, if you want to start with Bybit, 4,100 through those sign up bonuses. Of course, 7,700 if you use all of these links down below. So check those out. That's just one of the things I do. And of course, I set up my wallets. Another common question that comes up is, should I have my cryptocurrency on exchanges or in wallets? What am I doing once the market crashes? Am I going to hold some in stable coins and stake it? So that's the stuff that I want to have in my plan and have those wallets set up. So when the time comes, I'm prepared. I'll do some future videos on wallets, staking, especially in Australia, as we've got so many new options that have come out for the likes of SwiftX as well. So you can stake your cryptocurrencies on these exchanges. In the meantime, I ask if you found some value, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, bell notification icon. Thank you to you guys that are saying hello in the streets here on the Gold Coast, the markets. When we're out having dinner, it's really nice to see some of you guys and you're saying hello and letting me know that you're enjoying the journey on the channel as well. I'll see you guys on Twitter, Instagram, links down below. Don't get scammed. Until next time, have more fun to get more done.